Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you that shortcut to being really well-informed.
And today, we're diving into something super practical, I think. A skill you can use pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. Navigating the restaurant experience, basically. Doing it with a bit of grace and confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Our source material is this great guide all about real-life English for eating out.
Right. And our mission today isn't just to tell you what phrases to use.
No, it's more about unpacking why they work, the sort of subtle power behind them.
The social intelligence bit. How these simple phrases actually make things smoother, friendlier, more effective.
It's so relevant, isn't it? If you travel or study abroad or just, use English day to day.
Oh, definitely. Ordering food seems simple, but it can be, well, surprisingly stressful if you're not comfortable.
The social situations. And yeah, the guide teaches the language, but we want to dig into how these words shape the whole interaction.
That's the key difference.
hmm
So we'll look at some core polite phrases,
hmm
uh, see them in action, like in a mini dialogue.
And then maybe some tips to sound even more natural.
Exactly. It's about understanding those subtle signals you send.
Right.
So what's really going on when we talk about, like, politeness in a restaurant? Is it just manners?
Well, it's interesting. It's not just superficial politeness, I think. These phrases, they actually set a cooperative tone, almost subconsciously.
Cooperative. How so?
Like when you say, could I get,
Huh.
you're not just demanding something. You're kind of inviting the server to help you. It's less of a command.
Right. It's not give me this.
Exactly. And that small shift, it just changes the energy, makes everyone feel a bit more, well, receptive, reduces friction.
Huh. I hadn't quite framed it that way before. Cooperative interaction. Okay.
Yeah, and it uses these established social scripts, so it actually makes things easier for everyone involved, less thinking needed.
Okay, that makes sense. So the guide focuses on three really useful phrases. Let's dig into the first one. Could I get?
Yeah, this one's fantastic, super adaptable, and it's indirect. It's much softer than just stating, I want.
Which can sound a bit demanding, yeah. Even if you don't mean it to.
Totally. It can come across as abrupt. But phrasing it as a question, could I get? It sort of gives the other person, the server, a sense of agency.
Right. Instead of just marching in and saying, I want a burger, which feels a bit
Mm-hmm.
harsh. You say, could I get a burger, please? Instantly sounds more respectful,
Yeah.
friendlier.
Exactly. And the guide has good examples, right? Like, could I get a glass of water?
Yeah, or could I get the check, please? It just flows better in conversation, doesn't it?
It really does. Then the second key phrase is, I'd like. That's I would like, contracted.
Okay, I'd like.
Yeah.
How's that different from could I get?
Mm. It works in a very similar way. Still very polite, maybe feels fractionally more formal sometimes, but just barely.
So still expressing a preference, not issuing an order.
Precisely. Instead of, I want the pasta, which, like we said, can be blunt.
You'd go with, I'd like the pasta, please.
Perfect. Or, I'd like a coffee with milk. Both could I get and I'd like are excellent. The guide basically says, use whichever feels more natural to you.
The key thing being that indirectness.
That's the core of it. Now, the third one is really useful if you're feeling a bit lost with the menu. Could you recommend?
Yes. The recommendation request.
Yeah.
I can see how that helps with an unfamiliar menu.
Definitely.
But what if, you don't actually like their recommendation? Does the guide touch on that? Or is it more about just asking?
That's a fair question. The guide really stresses that the main benefit is in the act of asking itself.
Okay.
Firstly, you're tapping into their knowledge servers and often know the menu inside out, what's popular, what the chef's proud of.
Makes sense.
But also, and maybe more importantly, it subtly shows you trust their judgment.
Ah, I see. Building a bit of rapport.
Exactly. It creates this nice, almost collaborative vibe. And honestly, most staff enjoy helping you find something great.
So even if the dish isn't your absolute favorite, you've had a positive interaction.
Precisely. And simple examples work best. Could you recommend something vegetarian? Or could you recommend a good dessert? Easy.
Okay, so those are our three big ones. Could I get, I'd like, and could you recommend?
The essential toolkit.
And the guide then shows how these fit together in, like a sample conversation,
Yeah.
which is really helpful, I think, to see it flow.
Yeah, it brings it to life. So you can imagine the server comes over, maybe says something like, hi there, welcome, how are you today?
And you, the customer, could reply, hi, I'm good, thanks. Then maybe, could I get a menu, please? Using that first phrase right away, polite, clear.
Then you look at the menu, maybe it's huge, lots of options.
Right, feeling a bit overwhelmed.
So you could say, wow, everything looks so good. Could you recommend something vegetarian? Using that third phrase, inviting their input.
Okay.
And the server might say, sure, our veggie burger is really popular, and the grilled veggie pasta is also delicious.
And then you make your choice. Great, I'd like the grilled veggie pasta, please. There's our second phrase. Polite, decisive.
Exactly. And then maybe they ask about drinks.
And you could just naturally say, could I get an iced tea? Back to the first one again.
See how it flows.
Yeah. Looking at that dialogue, it's striking how seamlessly they all work together. It just sounds natural, like a normal, smooth conversation. Can you break down that flow a bit more? Where does each phrase really shine?
Sure. So, could I get a menu, please? That's your standard opener for a request. It's polite, it's not pushy, just gets the ball rolling.
Okay, the basic request starter.
Then, could you recommend something vegetarian? That's where the social intelligence really comes in. You're showing you value their opinion.
Right, opens the door for them to help you more personally.
Especially useful if you are unsure or you want to try something new. It makes it more of a connection.
And the final choice. I'd like the grilled veggie pasta, please.
That shows polite decisiveness. You've considered, maybe taken their advice, and now you're clearly stating your choice, but still respectfully.
So they're not just polite words. They're effective communication tools.
Absolutely. They signal respect, they signal ease, they help avoid misunderstandings or accidentally seeming rude, which is, super important when you're maybe not in your native language or culture.
Yeah, definitely. The guide also has this neat section, Fluency Builders, right? Showing how to level up basic requests.
Oh, yeah, those are great. Little upgrades to sound more natural.
Like, instead of just saying, I want water, which sounds a bit blunt.
Bit demanding.
The guide suggests, building on what we've learned, could I get some water, please?
Yeah,
Much friendlier.
totally. Or instead of, give me a burger.
Which sounds like you're ordering someone around.
Right, you switch to, I'd like a burger, please. Less commanding, more collaborative almost.
Okay. And for recommendations, instead of just what food is good.
You use that graceful, could you recommend something? It shows respect for their role, their opinion, fosters that positive exchange we talked about.
It's these small tweaks that make a big difference. And there's one more crucial tip the guide hammers home. Seems obvious, maybe.
But incredibly powerful. Always, always remember.
Please and thank you.
Yes, these are like social super lubricants in English-speaking cultures. Seriously important.
More than just good manners.
Oh, definitely. They actively reinforce that positive social vibe, even if you're nervous, even if you stumble over other words.
Just getting those two in makes a huge difference.
An enormous difference. It shows you understand that sort of social contract. It signals goodwill, appreciation. It costs nothing, but buys you so much smooth interaction.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. We've seen the power behind could I get, I'd like, and could you recommend?
Your essential toolkit.
Plus, that vital extra ingredient, always using please and thank you.
These really are shortcuts. Simple tools, but incredibly powerful for making those everyday interactions smooth, friendly, respectful. Doesn't matter what your English level is, really.
It's about building that confidence, reducing that stress we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. It empowers you. So we'd really encourage you, try them out. Actively use them.
Don't be afraid to practice.
Not at all. Most restaurant staff are really understanding, genuinely friendly. Practicing is usually a positive experience.
Okay, so here's something to think about as we wrap up. If mastering just a few polite phrases can make such a big difference in a common situation like ordering food, subtly changing the whole dynamic, the outcome, what other everyday scenarios do you think might be dramatically improved just by understanding more about these subtle linguistic cues, these cultural nuances?
That's a great question to ponder. Where else does that subtle language make a big impact?